Hey everyone, today I'm going to be talking about North America and European powers and how they're related in the 15 to the 1800s. So why don't we begin? First things first, I'll talk about how life in North America was like back then, how their society was like, how the economy was like, and that kind of thing. There wasn't really a scientific development or a scientific discovery in America back then due to the political situation. Everyone was too concentrated on warfare and wealth and all that kind of thing. So instead, they weren't really concentrated on developing new technologies and scientific things. However, during the same time frame, in Europe, they had the scientific revolution where they challenged the ideas of the church and Christianity. While later, they also had the Industrial Revolution, which was, however, over our time frame. The political situation was very well shaped the entire society and community of North America. North America back then was known as the New World since Christopher Columbus has just recently discovered it. Now that the people had realized that North America is actually North America and not China or India, the European empires begin to start colonizing, also can be rephrased as taking over North America. The European powers, France, Britain, Denmark, Netherlands, and Spain, has fought amongst themselves for each land mass of the North America. However, there were also the native Indians who were also fighting to protect their own homeland. However, the Europeans had much better technology, including gunpowder and ships, while the Indians only had bows and arrows. So, no matter how good they were, the Europeans had the upper hand. Socially, next thing about socially, there was society back then had several cultures, which was the idea of cultural diffusion, including the European ideas, which were about Christianity, about technology, about gunpowder, wealth, and that kind of thing. While the people already at America were the natives who had things about, who had scientific things about the calendar, math, and their own tribal beliefs. Next, the environment. Now, back then in North America, there was a surplus amount of gold, so the Indians barely valued gold to be anything. This was one of the reasons why the Europeans enjoyed trading and raiding the Indians, because they had so much gold that they didn't really care for it, so the Europeans got gold for a very cheap price, which they could then sell back in Europe, which represents wealth. Not only that, but instead of trading, some of the European powers, especially the Spaniards, decided to just go in and raid the Indian communities for their gold and treasure. Economically, there's a downside and a upside. The upside, which was the better side, of course, were European colonizers because they were benefiting from all of this cause. They were getting merchant ships over, trading goods, especially gold and wealth, to go back to sell in Europe. And there were colonies that they settled in were getting wealthier and wealthier. While the poor Native Americans were slowly declining, their civilization being invaded and killed over and over. They slowly lessened in numbers, and now they become very weak. Religiously, the Europeans had thought that Christianity was the right way, so they sent missionaries over to the New World to present what they thought and their ideas to the Native Americans. Next topic is the problems about what happened in North America and how they dealt with it. First issue, colonization. Like I said earlier, the European powers were fighting over the land masses in America, causing trouble to everyone. The Native Americans could not defend their own homeland, and there would have been no way for them to fight against guns with bows and arrows. Therefore, the Europeans had the upper hand, who clearly took an advantage of it and just went around colonizing and taking all the treasure they can find. This was a problem for the Native Americans, who were the rightful owner of the entire landmass had been taken away from their own homeland and killed. Issue 2. There are several factors that contributed to ending the civilizations of the Native Americans and killing them. Not only has warfare been the major cause, but also sickness and disease. Smallpox was one of the disease which wiped out a lot of the Native American civilizations. Smallpox came with the ships that trade and raid. However, the Native Americans didn't have immunities to smallpox, so they clearly were affected by it, and smallpox swept through America, killing several of them. And last of all, issue 3, Christianity. The Europeans believed that their way is the only way and the best way. Even though scientific beliefs has challenged them in the past, they still decide to influence the new Native Americans with what they believe is right. True, the Native Americans already have their own beliefs about their nomadic tribes and things, but this was very bad because this defined the idea of cultural diffusion. This made it so that each community had only one specific belief, which in this case is Christianity. This made it so that the culture didn't have much to think about scientific value because each of them would have the same ideas repetitively. So that was about it, and thank you for watching my presentation.